And we're back on Counterpoint. Mark, just prior to the break, you were mentioning the fear of kind of caving into those interests and maybe the return of some of those additional restrictions. Why is it that you're fearful? Is it academic stunting? Is it limitations in terms of that professor or student experience? What is it that bothers you about that potential return to some of those restrictions?
The student-professor experience, the interaction, the classroom, the meeting in offices, meeting people in the hallways or cafeterias and talking to them. When we were forced to do Zoom meetings or team meetings with students, with the class, that I found it very difficult. It was. I don't think it was a good experience for the students. I don't think they learned much, and they certainly weren't able to enjoy or be enthusiastic about learning. So this is what I'm concerned about, that we'll go back to remote teaching, and I'd really very much not want to.
And Dr. Masson, on the remote side of things, have you found any limitations in terms of academic performance? Has this set students back? I know that a lot of students rightfully complained that they were paying the same tuition for virtual university for so long, but has that created a lag maybe in academic performance?
You know, it's difficult to say at the moment because we're just coming out of it. I do think that those that began their university experience online have been significantly harmed in various ways, because university is more than sitting and looking at somebody across a screen. I mean, I've put my lectures up on YouTube. I have told, however, that many professors were not exactly competent or efficient or even dedicated to teaching that way. And it's even worse in the schools, where I think the biggest harms have been caused. The younger the child, the worse it was, I think, in terms of personal interaction and so forth. That probably just stands to reason for most people. I share Mark's concerns about this coming back because, again, the COVID is endemic now. There's no rationale for it to be continuing, the mandates and the regime of mandates to persist, and yet we're not out of that. And there's a sense that signals are being given at various levels that, you know, we may have to do this again if the next wave, et cetera, et cetera. And the if in most people's minds becomes a when, not an if. And so we have good reason based on past experience to think that there's no reason why we won't go back to this so long as our masters have not said we're back to normal. And I would like to see that politically myself.
And what would you say to, let's say, a critic of that position who says, well, you know what, masks will aid in some way in terms of shifting or decreasing transmission rates. It's worth it. It's worth whatever the costs are. Do you think that argument for either of you has any merit?
No.
I might be a bit more generous. I would want that argument to be made publicly, to be discussed critically, and then voted on by competent people, union administration. And in that sense, if masks is the will of the people after critical debate, then even if it's the wrong decision, at least it's been made fairly. And one can live with it or at least challenge it. But what we're getting, I think, is just the results of pressure groups, and not anything like critical discussion, anything like a open and free debate and
right. And that Mark, that's just the masks. There are other mandates as well, from being vaxxed to boosted, and those are related to the Nuremberg Code, and so those sorts, like those things are not just a lack of free speech. Those are violations of basic ethics, and we haven't really seen any public discussion of that.
I agree with you entirely, Scott. I think that's right. There are those things that we can't vote on and change. Civil liberties and rights are among them. That's right. I was speaking, just about masks and maybe about putting classes online again. If that's to be done, and I don't think from what I understand, there's no good reason to do it. But if that is to be done, it should be done after critical discussion and through proper channels.
Yeah, certainly transparency in any of these decisions, regardless of where they go, would be appreciated. Thank you both for joining me today on Counterpoint.